Hey everybody, welcome into the Red Earth Production Studios. My name is Brian French and I am joined today, as always, for our Tips from TTO segment, Megan Wallander from the tax office. How you doing, Megan?
Good, how are you?
Fabulous. It's Monday and
Yes.
we're jumping right into some stuff. We usually are just trying to give tips for small businesses. We want to encourage people and whatnot, but there's a disturbing trend in our local community, local business. Both Megan and I saw this letter. I follow the New Wentzvillian for St. Charles Countyans, and he had posted this over the weekend, a letter from the St. Charles County. And Megan, you got a copy there, don't you?
I do. I have a copy right here.
There you go. So you can get this. It's not like
it's public knowledge.
St. Charles Health Department officials will be observing local bars and restaurants this weekend. Here is the list. And I'm thinking to myself, what are we doing?
What are we allowing as small businesses?
I'm reading this letter and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. Are we reading the book 1984?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Come on, man. Go ahead, Megan.
Yes.
Tell me what you got there on that.
So some of these guidelines. So basically there was a notice sent out to St. Charles County and some of the surrounding areas asking for volunteers to do some recon in local St. Charles County bars and restaurants. So we're asking people to basically snitch on local businesses and small businesses that have, been here for years. Asking them they want the name and, as you visit these local businesses, the name and address of the facility, time you were there, what you observed with your eyes, and pictures of what you observed. So pictures of businesses violating their privacy in their business, okay? And then to send that back to your public officials or, state officials, whichever you choose to go to. And then they will compile everyone's findings on Monday morning. This data may be used to inform policymakers and and in consideration of how they will handle small businesses and whether they can stay open or not. Very interesting. So then this letter, due to the findings of what happened, this letter was sent out to businesses. And I highlighted something I thought was very interesting. To those bar owners who are willing to put their employees, their patrons, and their community at a greater risk, the spotlight is on you. Whoa, wait a minute. To me, that seems a little threatening. To someone that under the Constitution of Missouri and, on a broader scale, federal, excuse me? The last time I checked, we hired you to do our bidding in government
to represent
buildings.
Our voice.
Right, you represent us, and from what I'm seeing in St. Charles, as I visit small businesses, because I am a firm believer, I visit small business, I support local businesses. Absolutely, I'm a small business, and so what are we allowing as small businesses? Little by little, we're saying that it's okay for them to mandate this. These are recommendations. These are guidelines.
Well, and that's the thing. When all this started, these were all recommendations from the CDC, guidelines to help flatten the curve.
Right, which was 2 weeks in the beginning.
And now this is March. We're in August, and
right.
we're still saying the same rhetoric. And we're going to get into some stuff here with the CDC. And we want to say to everybody that's watching, listening, Megan and I, we talked a lot about this and how we want to approach what we talk about as far as business owners, local business owners, small business owners, which Small business owners are considered any business with 500 employees or less. Correct? That is
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that is national guidelines, okay? Which makes up 92% of this country's business owners. 92%. That's a lot, folks. That's a lot of
people.
Money. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of jobs.
Yes,
Why
it is.
are we threatening 92% of our country's wealth, of our country's ability to make a living, of our country's ability to just live? Why are we threatening that? I don't understand this thought process. And Mr. Ellman, like I said, I read the book 1984 in high school. I graduated in 1984. So that shows you how old I am. So from high school, I remember reading that and I'm thinking to myself, my goodness, see? So what are we discussing here and what are we talking about when it comes to these politicians? Are we still just pushing an agenda or are we actually working to help the small businesses in this county recover from the issues that were brought on by this pandemic?
Very true.
I know that hurts people's feelings, and I'm not trying to, but that's just my opinion. You can agree with me or disagree with me. That's America. And so,
yes,
it just blows me away what we continue to see and continue to have happen. And here, the Westphalian reported that it's called it Fallen Arches. McDonald's has announced it will permanently shutter approximately 200 restaurants across the United States. Mm-hmm. That's McDonald's, friend. 200 locations.
One of the biggest corporations / franchise, entities in the world. In the world. We're not talking just nationally or, in our circle of, St. Charles and Missouri. We're talking in the world. So how, when a company such as McDonald's can be impacted like this,
right?
When we look at our small businesses that employ 2 and 3 employees or, maybe even 10, 15, how does that affect us? And what are we going to say and allow moving forward? Because we're allowing it as small businesses because we're not standing up and we're not saying anything.
And I would like to ask, we talk about this flattening the curve or the social distancing, all the guidelines and all the stuff, right?
Yes.
And I understand safety. And then, of course, we have the mask stuff and the controversy and this and that and whatnot. I will tell you, folks, I haven't wore a mask. That is my choice. I promise when I go into a grocery store that I won't talk to you. I won't spit on you because none of the best people do. I haven't talked to anybody or whatnot. If you stay 6 feet away from me, that's fine. I'll stay 6 feet away from you if that's what helps you feel better. I don't care.
Absolutely.
I have no problem with those things. But to tell me when all of the information that's coming out across the board about masks, what they are, what we do, how we do, doctor after doctor talking about these things. If this spike is going to be so bad and we're so worried about overwhelming our hospitals, how come we have fired and furloughed thousands of doctors and nurses across the country in this city, in this county, in our hospitals? How come they've done that? How can you do that?
It's a very good question.
In the midst of a pandemic that's overwhelming our health system?
Yes.
That doesn't make sense to me. I know I'm just Joe Schmo.
But it's if we don't start asking those questions, then what is allowed will become executive orders. It will become law. It will go farther than a mandate or a guideline to where small businesses won't exist anymore. And like you said earlier, the narrative hasn't changed. So we see the deaths, decreasing. We see the number of cases decreasing. CDC is updating their website constantly, but the narrative has not changed from February 1st to now. Wait a minute.
Well, we have this, don't we?
So that deserves a question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
We have this. You've got the CDC update, don't you? August 3rd update.
Let's see here. The August 3rd. Yeah, I've got that.
So this is something that the CDC that you can find readily. This is their August 3rd update of the COVID-19 information that's reported to them. Yes?
It is. Yes. August 3rd. It is updated. I want to say, I would say, every day. I mean, I really believe it's updated every day. I
think they update it weekly. Go ahead and read that.
Weekly? Okay.
Provisional counts.
So the provisional counts. Oh, So provisional death counts are based on death certificate data received and coded by National Center for Health Statistics as of August 3rd, 2020. Death counts are delayed and may differ from other published sources. See technical notes. Counts will be updated periodically. Additional information will be added onto this site as available. So that's just
a comment. That's not a note. What we're saying here, the provisional counts for the coronavirus disease 2019 deaths are based on current flow of mortality data in the National Vital Statistics System. Well, we're hearing across the board that reporting has been jacked up.
It has.
And
case in point, Florida.
Right?
I mean, that's it. Unbelievable.
And there was let's look at this. Here's something I think is very interesting in the Washington Examiner I was reading. CDC Director, CDC Centers for Disease Control Director acknowledges hospitals have a monetary incentive to overcount coronavirus deaths. Yes. And go read the article. This is in the Washington Examiner. This is published. The date on this is August 3rd, today, Monday, August 3rd. U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Director Robert Redfield agreed that some hospitals have a monetary incentive to overcount coronavirus deaths as they do deaths for other diseases. I think you're correct in that we've seen this in other disease processes. So this isn't something new. They've dealt with this before.
They've dealt with it before, yes.
Redfield continued, so I do think there's some reality to that. Okay. I mean, just some. And we saw the other day that they brought out that that Florida was said to have overcounted by 25%.
25%. And Florida is, don't want to get too political, but it's a battleground state. I mean, let's just say it.
Yeah. And this is where we're dealing with this and what we got. And this is right off the CDC website, folks. I'm going to do this real quick. Meg, if you got something you want to add here while I do this, go ahead.
Just really to touch base on small businesses, and because that is our focus here at TTO and the relationship that we have with REP, and getting information out there for local businesses, small businesses, because at the end of the day, we got to stick together. And so there, over the weekend, I believe this was published on July 22nd in the Missourian, due to the spying and the recon for local businesses, bars are being targeted a little bit more than, and that's just my opinion, but there is a target out there. There were 3 local restaurants and bars that were given citations and notifications that if they don't comply, they don't fall into submission of the narrative, they will be forced to shut down. And as a small business owner, we can't afford to be shut down any longer. We put money in, our own money. This is our dream. This is our business. We set it from the foundation. That can't happen. But the narrative continues to be pushed with small businesses. Again, 92% of us in America work for a small business. So 3 were cited. In St. Louis County, 4 were cited, and they have extremely strict laws, or I'm sorry, not laws, guidances and mandates in St. Louis County. I read earlier in New York, 150 bars and restaurants were cited and basically threatened, if the mandates and guidelines are not followed, there will be severe consequences. Well, wait a minute. And as small businesses, I believe we have the right to stand up and say no. And if you are a small business, I highly, we have, just a tidbit, we have an election tomorrow. They are a representative of who we are in St. Charles County. Small businesses, they are supposed to speak for us. Supposed to. Highly urge you to get out there and vote. This is very important from a small business standpoint.
As you can see here, I pulled this up. This is the CDC, as you can see up in the top here. This is the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This is the daily updates of totals by week and state. Okay, provisional death counts. Now, this is what they go by. I understand we have still maybe some people being diagnosed or whatever, but the probability numbers in there are suspect, in my opinion. And as of 8/1, this is 161. How far down is it, folks?
Unbelievable.
So we are. There is an impact in this, and I know there's been a lot, but I mean, we all know that New York falsified death certificates. It's been reported, and I know there'll be people that will go, no, they didn't. Okay, fine. You believe what? But I'm just showing you what's on the Centers for Disease Control and what we're dealing with and how we should look at these things. And we've got to identify situations within our own community and talk about them in a healthy way. Look, Mr. Ellman, I appreciate the fact that you want to help people and whatnot. I appreciate that. But sir, where were you in 2017 and 18 when according to the CDC,
it's right there. Mm-hmm.
We had pandemic or epidemic levels with the influenza. We didn't shut down schools. This was 2017, 2018. And the percentage at that time got to 7.5%, which was its highest rate since 2009 during the swine flu pandemic at 7.9%. Where was everybody's outrage? Where was everybody's closing the schools? Where was everybody in that respect? I just don't understand why we don't that these are things that don't add up in my head. They just don't add up.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And
Mr. Ellman, city officials, I appreciate the fact that you folks feel compelled to speak your piece and say what you say. That's fine. It's what you were elected for. But we as citizens, we can do the same. That's what this country is built on. And to force people into these things, I think is absolutely wrong. I do. I think it's absolutely wrong.
Absolutely.
So I'll tell you what, folks, that's going to do it for us today. We don't want to just bend your ear too much. But Megan and I are going to be back this week on Hump Day with the Rep and continue to talk about these things and bring more information, talk to you, just open up. Hey, if you're watching, like, share, comment. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely.
Good or bad, you may disagree. We understand, and that's okay. I'm not mad at anybody. Not upset with anybody. These are just things that I believe, and Megan and I have discussed this as business people, as business owners, as people in the community working with small businesses. These are things that we feel we have to, we need to say and talk about openly. I'm not. We just got to. That's just it.
I mean, yeah. The Joe Schmoes in society, as everyday working class people, taking care of your families and supporting your businesses and supporting small business. If we don't stand up now, again, like I keep saying, if we continue to allow it worse. And I don't know if we can take that. That's I sit and my brain just overworks itself with everything that's going on, and the questions arise, and we need to ask those questions. They need to be put to the test. Our local officials need to be put to the test and say, okay, it's enough.
Right. So, hey, thanks for joining us today on Tips from TTO, and we'll see you this week. Again, check us out, Hump Day with the Rep. We're coming back. We're going to talk about some more, and we'll be back the following Monday. And we're going to keep this open dialogue, so we hope you tune in. We'd love to hear from you. Everybody have a great day in the Lord. We'll see you next time.